My name is Dr. Pipra Jamfi. I was born in the little village in Pitimpi in Ghana. I've come up with a book called Poverty Crusade, a Little African Villages Campaign Against World Poverty. Those who have read the book will know that in this story, which is based on a dream, residents of my little village, after waiting in vain for improvement in their living conditions, decided to send a delegation to meet the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo. From there, they headed to the Western world and had meetings with Angela Merkel, Harald Juncker, Theresa May, and President Trump. Eventually, what began as a small petition of a little village to the President of Ghana became a worldwide movement, which ended in a summit of the poor in New York. During the summit, they came up with a 10-point action plan for poverty alleviation, and that is what I'm going to talk about in this program. The first point was a call on the United Nations for a law which makes it mandatory for all member states of the United Nations to initiate a social welfare state in their respective countries. They were talking about a minimum payment of at least $2 per citizen per country. In other words, every citizen of the world should be entitled to enough money, which will be set up by a committee of experts, which will be based on the minimum living wage. The second point was the setting up of a poverty alleviation fund, which would finance the welfare state system. So point number one, setting up of a global welfare state system. Point number two, setting up of a global welfare state fund. And how is it going to be funded? That is point number three. They are calling for a global arms sales tax. Not only those who sell arms, but those who purchase arms should pay 0.1% of the volume or the value of all the taxes of the arms that they purchase or sell. So that is point number three, the action point number three for poverty alleviation. Point number four, during the summit of the poor of this world, they called for a 0.01% global space exploration tax. The argument behind that was that, in their opinion, the world should first concentrate on the problems of this world before sending man to space. But if, despite that, others are willing to spend billions on space exploration, the summit of the poor of this world demanded that any amount spent on that venture, 0.01% of that amount is paid into the Poverty Crusaders Alleviation Fund. Point number five is the initiation of a global green tax. All companies and corporations which contribute to the pollution of the world we are called upon to pay a global green tax of 0.1%. The summit went on to call for a tax on the mega rich. That is point number 6. They are calling on 0.01% of tax to be levied on the mega rich. And by mega rich, they meant anyone who has a wealth above $100 million. So the poor of this world are calling for a tax on the mega rich who have wealth above 100 million US dollars. Point number 7. They were of the opinion that a lot of the misery of the poor of this world is due to corruption. So they called upon the setting up of what they call Global Poverty Alleviation Arrest Warrant. What would that do? The Global Poverty Alleviation Arrest Warrant will be a United Nations mandated law which will call on individual countries to arrest any politician from anywhere in the world who, through embezzlement of funds of their various countries, run away with the funds to various other lands. So that is the demand of the summit of the poor. Global Poverty Alleviation Arrest Warrant. And to make sure that those who embezzle funds of the poor of this world, this call on the setting up of Global Poverty Alleviation Tribunal. So the arrest warrant to arrest those involved, and the tribunal will persecute those involved. So these are all going to be international laws. That is the demand of the poor. Point number 9. During the summit of the poor of this world, they came to the conclusion that the world normally does not take their issues seriously. And from statistics, more than 50% of the world population is poor, live in poverty. So in this visionary statement of this summit, they call on the setting of that the poor of this world are given a veto power, because they form about more than half of the population of the world. They are calling for them to be given a veto power so that they can also have their influence felt in the affairs of this world. Finally, in order to keep their issues alive or afresh in the minds of everyone, they call for a Global Poverty Alleviation Week. So every year, the world will set apart 1 week devoted to the poor, so that their affairs will remain fresh in the memory of the world politicians. So that is the 10-point action plan that was initiated or that was agreed upon by this virtual summit of the poor in New York. Or for you to read further about the circumstances and events that led to this unique meeting, please get a copy of this thought-provoking book, Poverty Crusade, a Little African Village's Campaign Against World Poverty. The book is available wherever books are sold, online and also in traditional bookshops. Get your copy now. Join the Poverty Crusaders movement. Thank you very much for your time.